For a long time, I'd mark my supply and demand levels perfectly, then watch the price hit them with unbelievable accuracy the next morning. And then I'd walk away with a loss, over and over. I could tell you exactly where the price was going, but I couldn't make any money from it. But the levels weren't the problem. My execution at those levels was the problem. I'd enter too early, or have the wrong stop, or hold too long, and what should have been something profitable and simple turned into a struggle to just stay above the surface. And that's when I realized I wasn't calibrated with the market. I didn't understand how to strike at the right time. That's what took me months to figure out. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact method to execute trades at supply and demand levels, and by the end of it, you'll know how to nail every trade you come across. Now, having institutional supply and demand levels on your chart gives you an insane advantage over everyone else. We know that retail traders are too small to move the price. Institutions are the only thing that can actually move the price. And if you have the right zones mapped out, you know exactly where they need to be moving next. This is already powerful on its own. However, it doesn't automatically translate into profit. We still need to enter and exit the trade correctly if we want to grow our account. And not just once, but over and over again consistently. If you're new to the channel, I'll link some videos right now in the upper corner that show you exactly how to find these institutional levels. But once we have our levels, we need to master clean execution. And the way we do that is by covering the three components of clean execution, which is entry, stop loss, and target. If you eliminate all possible mistakes from these components, then the market can't trap you anywhere. Clean execution just flows naturally, and your P&L finally gets to breathe. So we need to corner each of these three components and lock them down so there's no room for error. Let's start with the entry. The entry is the most important part of the trade, and it's also the part that's prone to the worst mistakes. And the reason for this is that an entry isn't just a location the same way a stop or a target is. It's not just a point, it's also a time. Even if your thesis is right and you enter at the right point, if your timing is off, then your trade will lose. You could enter too early, get stopped out, and then have the trade move right in your direction. Whereas if you would have waited and entered at that exact same spot a few minutes later, you would have won that trade. Think about how far that sets you back. Instead of being one win ahead, you're one loss behind. And now you need 2 wins just to get back to where you would have been before, if you had the correct timing. So timing is absolutely critical. I can't overstate this enough. Now, timing and entry isn't a one-size-fits-all, it's different for every trade. But it also doesn't need to be perfect. You don't need to have perfect timing, you just need to have good timing. You don't want to be flat out wrong because that leads to a lot of other problems. You just want to be aligned with the correct timing, even if your entry itself isn't perfect. And the way you time the market correctly is pretty simple. For over 95% of the time, the market isn't something you want to enter or even pay attention to. Even when the price is in a supply and demand level, you shouldn't enter and should straight up ignore it most of the time. You only want to be paying attention when a certain set of conditions align. The first condition, of course, is that the price needs to be in a supply and demand level. If the price isn't in a level, then you wait until it's in a level. The second condition is that we want probability to tilt in one direction. And this is what I mean when I say the market isn't something you want to pay attention to most of the time, because most of the time, probability is equal to both the upside and the downside. So if price is at a supply and demand level, then it has an equal chance of either moving to the level above or the level below. It doesn't lean to one side being more likely. And that's a problem for us because our odds are always going to be 50-50. We're not going to be able to pull an edge out of it. And when it comes to entries, it's going to be very difficult to get the timing right if we don't have probability on our side because the market can just shift direction whenever it wants and chop us out. That's where multi-time frame alignment comes in. If multiple time frames are aligned, then that means we have long-term and short-term buyers or sellers coordinating on the same move, which makes it much more likely to keep moving in that direction. That's going to make our timing a whole lot easier because we have a much better idea of where the market is headed. And for our multi-time frame alignment, we're going to use our EMA cloud indicator. I'll link a video here that goes in depth on exactly how to set that up and use it. But what the cloud does is that it essentially gives you an instant read of the overall trend. It tells you who's in control without you having to think about it. If the cloud is sloping up, buyers are in control. The market is in an uptrend and it's more likely to keep moving higher. If it's sloping down, sellers are in control. The market is in a downtrend and it's more likely to keep moving lower. And if the cloud is flat or twisting back and forth, nobody's in control. Now, the cloud on its own is already a powerful filter, but one time frame isn't enough because the market exists on multiple time frames at once, and they don't always agree. So what we want is the higher time frame and the lower time frame pointing in the same direction, specifically the 1 hour and the 5 minute. If the 1 hour is sloping down, then that tells us that long-term sellers are in control at the moment. And long-term sellers being in control is great, but it doesn't seal the deal. Because if long-term sellers are in control, but in the short term, buyers are in control, then we risk a potential reversal. If short-term buyers push hard enough, they can cause a short squeeze and eventually sellers on higher time frames start capitulating. Then, buyers start to gain control over those time frames until they reach long-term sellers, who will have no choice but to capitulate. That's how reversals start, and that's the risk of short-term buyers being in control. So we want the short term to also be dominated by sellers, and that ensures that the market is more likely to continue moving down. Once the 5 minute and the 1 hour are aligned, we can look into actually entering the trade in that direction. And this is where timing becomes important. We want to look at the 1 hour cloud to see whether it's the right time to enter or whether it's too early or too late. If the 1 hour cloud is trending and following the price smoothly, and it's just a level or two away from it, then it's usually a good time to enter a trade. If the 1 hour cloud is multiple levels away from the price, overstretched, or if it's flat and stuck to the price, then it's too early to enter a trade. The market isn't primed yet. It might continue moving in your direction, but the probability for it to do something random or move in the other direction is way higher here. It's not something you want to engage in. So if structure and the cloud are aligned and the market is moving at a normal pace, then that's an ideal time to enter. If the price is stretched too far, then it's too early. You might enter and the price could reverse before building out more structure and continuing in your direction. So that's the timing aspect of our entry. And when it comes to the entry location, that's pretty straightforward as well. When the timing is right, you want to make sure you have the best location for entry. And that's going to come from setting an alert at the edge of your level. Now, setting an alert does two things. Number one, it stops you from staring at your screen, because staring at your screen does untold psychological damage over time. When you're watching every single tick and every little move, you're reacting to every second of it, even if it's subconsciously. And eventually your nervous system gets activated every time it sees candlestick movement. It perceives everything as a threat and puts you on high alert, which makes your trade quality a lot worse. There isn't really a benefit to staring at price action at all, unless you want to stress yourself out and trade worse. So, setting an alert and only engaging when the price hits that alert is ideal. Once the alert gets hit, and we see that the price has finally reached the edge of the level, then that tells us that the market is ready to break out and move to the next level. Now we have the timing of our entry and the location of our entry locked down. This basically eliminates all the errors that come from entering too early or entering at a bad spot. And if you want help putting this all together, I work with traders one-on-one in the LCE Accelerator, where we go through your charts, build out your full process, and make sure your execution is airtight. You also have a community of traders that are all trading the same system to keep you accountable and help you grow. Links in the description if you're interested. So let's move to the stop loss. The stop placement can get tricky because if you place it a little too close, then it'll get hit when it shouldn't. And if you place it too far, then your risk reward goes down for nothing and you lose profitability. So it needs to be at the right spot. And the key with stop placement is that you want it to be at the exact point where the trade gets invalidated. Not earlier and not later. Only at that exact point. Now you might ask, how do I know where the trade gets invalidated? And for that, you need to know why you're even in the trade in the first place. When it comes to entering a supply and demand trade, we're entering at one level and exiting at the next level, because we believe the price has a higher probability of moving to that level than to the level in the opposite direction. That's the only reason we're in the trade, right? So when it comes to invalidation, our move wouldn't be valid if price would move to the other level instead. So in theory, we should place our stop all the way at the bottom of the other level. That would mean our idea is certainly invalid because it moved to the opposite level before it moved to our level. But that wouldn't be necessary. Even if the price gets close to the other level, it still invalidates our move because it's a misread of direction and timing. Our stop loss wouldn't need to be all the way to the other level. It would just need to be where our idea gets invalidated, and there's a few ways of doing this. The first way is to place your stop under or above the cloud, and this usually works if the cloud is about halfway between the two levels. If the cloud is trending in a certain direction, and the price moves against the cloud and punctures through it, then it's unlikely to continue moving in that direction. It shouldn't even be able to get that close. At a minimum, it means your timing was wrong. So that's one way of invalidating the trade. The second way is placing the stop under or above market structure, and this will usually coincide with the cloud anyway if the market is moving right. So if you're going short and have a significant swing high nearby, placing your stop near that point is a good idea because it means if the price moves all the way there, the downtrend is broken and much less likely to continue lower. And finally, the third way is to just place it around halfway between the two levels if there isn't a clear cloud or market structure in place. If the price moves more than halfway to the other level, then either timing is off or the trade won't work. Putting it halfway gives enough of a distance and space for the price to breathe and keep moving in your direction safely. And those are your three options for stop placement. You pick whichever one applies to your specific trade: cloud, market structure, or halfway between levels. One of those three will always be there. And once your stop is placed, you don't touch it. That's it. You've got the stop locked down. Now let's move to the target. Now the target is actually the simplest of the three. The only way you can get this wrong is if you overthink it or overcomplicate it. All we're doing is just targeting the next level, because that validates our idea, right? If the price moves to the opposite level, our idea gets invalidated. If the price moves to our target level, our idea is validated. So all we want to do is place our target within the first few points of the next level. Because if the price doesn't reach the next level and reverses a few points from it, it means our idea wasn't validated. It doesn't mean we need to take a loss. I mean, we can move our stop to break even before to stop that from happening. That's something normal. But it would be bad if the price did end up hitting our level, proving you correct, but you didn't end up taking profit because you had your target too deep into the level. A lot of traders will do the hard work of timing a trade right, entering it, placing the right stop loss, only to ruin it at the exit. So the key with setting targets is to just set them early into the level so you don't overstay your welcome and get out when you're right. And you also just want to let it ride from entry to target without interfering. You don't want to take partials or trail your stop or anything like that. All you're doing is ruining your profitability. Your trade will either be validated and hit your target or invalidated and hit your stop. If you execute consistently and follow the right strategy, then your target will be hit more often than your stop, and you'll build a clear equity curve. If you keep interfering instead, your equity curve won't be clean, and it'll probably be significantly less profitable. And that's how you nail execution. Once you have your entry, your stop, and your target locked down for every trade, you can finally focus on simply executing and driving your P&L higher instead of constantly fighting with the market and with yourself. Now, if you want help putting this into practice, then be sure to apply to the LCE Accelerator. And I'll be seeing you in the next video.